Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 FM. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Morton Loop here in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. This afternoon I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu.
Now, this bulletin is also live on our partner stations. In the Western region, we are live on Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. In the Bono region, we are live on Greener FM on 95.9 FM rather, and is based in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, we are live on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, also on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, if you're listening to me, you're listening via Revival 99.3 FM and also on Cool 103.5 FM in Ho. In the Northern region, we are live on Radio Bimbila on 91.9 FM. And in the Upper East region, we are live on Tanga 93.7 FM in Boga. Coming up in today's edition, members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum picket at the Finance Ministry to demand an exemption from the government's domestic debt exchange program, which expires tomorrow.
The investment I made is what I used to buy my grass. I don't have a salary. I have paid my dues. Why do you have to use my pension money? What sacrifice have they made? They should cut down their government. Have you heard anything? Maybe I haven't heard. You should tell me. This is wickedness.
Meanwhile, the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana is urging its members to resist attempts by the government to sign onto the program due to the failure of the government to pay maturities and coupons today. Also coming up, Minority in Parliament alleges the loss of over 3 million jobs in the coming weeks as the government intends to suspend about 60 ongoing projects in the country as part of its debt exchange program.
I'm aware that series of meetings have taken place with a close group of people in NPP, where allegedly about 60 projects and programs are going to be either suspended or cancelled.
Still ahead, 21-year-old boy stabs 48-year-old woman to death in Kumasi.
They had some quarrel some time ago. So we don't know what happened. He just bumped into the woman's house around 6:30 thereof. All of a sudden, the tenants, they just heard the woman shouting, "Befi, Befi."
And later, we'll tell you how the deplorable nature of the Bamaho Junior High School in the Wild West Municipality of the Upper West region is affecting teaching and learning.
It's a deplorable, it's regrettable, it's unacceptable, and I want to call on government, if they were sleeping, to wake up and do a comprehensive check on what is happening in our system.
And we have all that and more on Citi Prime News, which is also live on all our affiliates across the country. Let's start with our first story. And members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum have this morning picketed the Finance Ministry to demand an exemption from the government's domestic debt exchange program, which we know expires tomorrow. Charles Owusu-Kumi is a man on the ground. Charles, if you can hear me, welcome to Citi Prime News.
Thank you, Vivian.
What can you tell us?
So, members of the Pensioners Bondholders Forum, numbering about 50, this morning they have come to the Ministry of Finance to picket, to essentially drum home their demand that the domestic debt exchange program, which is currently ongoing, that they be completely exempted. If you recall, last week, the Finance Ministry issued a statement. In that statement, they offered new terms of 5% maturity and 50% coupon rate to the pensioners. But they say that they still do not want these terms, and for them, all they want is complete exemption, because when they made these investments, they had a certain plan, and they want their lives to go according to this plan, and they didn't make investments hoping that they will get 0%, which the ministry offered earlier and then improved it to the 15%. And so they say they want to stick with their average of 18%, which they're currently getting. The minister himself has come out and he has spoken to the group. They actually dispersed, but the minister, upon hearing that there was a gathering in front of his office, he came down and spoke to a few of them, spoke to the leader, Dr. Ananyenchi, and about 4 or 5 of them. And essentially what the minister was saying is that he needs the pensioners to buy into the program because in March, they're expecting to go back to the IMF for the board level approval for the $3 billion support, and he will need the domestic debt exchange to have been successfully completed by then. So he says that he's actually helping them with the 15% that he's proposing, and that the economy is in a dire situation, and he also needs them to help him try and revive the economy because, according to his own words, if we fail to get the IMF board level approval for the $3 billion support, the economy is going to crash and the pensioners may eventually not even get their money after all.
So what was their response to these assertions made by the minister? Because some also say the time frame and what they will get is not good enough, especially because they are relying on it for their medical bills, they are relying on it for their educational bills, for their wards, among others. What was the response of these pensioners?
So it was an intimate moment between the minister and the pensioners. You could see the minister was quite passionate about his appeal to them, and they received his appeal quite well. But after the minister left, we spoke to them again. They told us, well, the minister has spoken, they have heard him, but for them, they still want the minister and the government to completely exempt them from the program. Dr. Dianani also told us that they'll be having a meeting later tonight, and he will relay the information gathered from the ministry back to his people, and then they'll make a decision on whether to renegotiate with the ministry or accept the new terms or come back here tomorrow as they have planned to continue picketing until they are completely exempted.
So in the interim, we are not sure if they'll come back tomorrow or if they'll accept the minister's assertions for them to back down.
Yes, so the plan is that they'll be here again tomorrow, but after they spoke to the minister, I think the tone changed a bit. They say they'll go back, reconvene and have their discussion, and then they'll decide whether they'll be back again tomorrow.
Right. Thank you very much. Charles Owusu-Kumi, he's a man there speaking to us from the Finance Ministry, where members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum this morning picketed there to demand an exemption from government's domestic debt exchange program. We still stay with this domestic debt exchange program because with less than 24 hours to the deadline for the registration of the domestic debt exchange program, the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana has stated that it will not accept certain aspects of the final memorandum of the program. Now, this follows parts of the memorandum of the domestic debt exchange program, which states that the government intends to default on the payment of the February 6th, 2023 maturities and coupons. The association knows that this is contrary to their engagement with the finance minister and his assurance that individual bondholders are free not to participate in the DDE and that the government will honor the old bonds, coupons and maturity as they fall due. In an interview with Citi News, co-convener of the Individual Bondholders Association, Martin Kepu, called on the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, not to renege on his earlier promises to them.
The finance minister is using some scaremongering tactics, trying to cause panic amongst our members by refusing to make payments on bonds that are due today. So in other words, some bonds are due today, and individuals are part of those bonds maturing. The bonds maturing today are worth about $4.2 billion. Actual figure is $4.185 billion, blah, blah, blah. And so in order to hook our members so that they will sign up to the domestic debt exchange program, the finance minister is made a U-turn just 1 week on, and is saying that they will not pay those bonds which are maturing today. We think that this is bad faith. Government cannot negotiate in bad faith like that. This is very poor governance. To use fear and panic to get people to sign on to the domestic debt exchange is unconstitutional. Discretionary power and the powers of government, as stated in the Constitution, are not meant to be used in this manner. This is abuse of office, that you promise people that you will make payments when the bond falls due, and this is one of those due dates. And yet, last Friday evening, you bring out an amendment to the info memo or the exchange memorandum, say that payments will not be made. I think this is unconstitutional. We call on the government to put the finance minister in order and finance minister in order to make payments as it falls.
Martin Krobo also noted that the group will kick against the inclusion in the government's domestic debt exchange. He's therefore advising its members to remain resolute and resist the attempts to get them to sign onto the exchange program, as their technical and legal teams are assessing the memorandum and will advise on its implications by close of day.
This is an abuse. The finance minister should not be allowed to abuse Ghanaians like that. He's going to cause murder. It's going to cause a lot of untold hardship on the citizens of Ghana. We don't want development that brings death. You don't have a country if you don't have citizens. We are still doing exempt. That's what individual bondholders are doing. They don't want to be part of the debt exchange program.
Martin Krobo is one of the conveners of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana, as well as a legal practitioner.
The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, says it is in talks with the bulk distribution companies and oil marketing companies on how to price fuel from the Gold for Oil program. Ghana took delivery of the first consignment of fuel from the Gold for Oil deal last month. The 40,000 metric tons of diesel arrived at the Tema port and has since been distributed to various OMCs and BDCs. Speaking to Citi News, the communications manager of the NPA, Mohammed Abdul Kudus, said the authority will aid in the regulation of pricing to make the fuel affordable to Ghanaians.
In this particular instance, so we have 40,000 metric tons that have come in. And the fact 40,000 metric tons have actually been spread across selected BDCs and OMCs. I must put on record that the participation in this particular program is voluntary. It's not compulsory. And the BDCs or OMCs who would have received this particular consignment at the time that they were receiving it might have already in store products that they took at the prevailing market rate. What it means is that then there should be a certain mathematics of how to determine the pricing of putting the supply under the Gold for Oil and the supply they got from the prevailing market price, price to arrive at a particular price that would benefit the consumer. And in our attempt to ensure that whatever that is gotten as a relief in the price of the product under the G4O program translates and trickles down to the consumer. In this case, then we ought to come in and take charge of how the whole determination is supposed to be done. We've actually had engagements with the BDCs and OMCs in this particular program under this particular phase because we've not had a complete takeover of the supply under the program. So there ought to be a certain mathematics, and that is where we've agreed with them on a certain weighted average in arriving at the price.
That was the communications manager of the National Petroleum Authority, Mohammed Abdul Kudus. The Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, is yet to restore power to the University for Development Studies City campus after the institution was disconnected on Thursday, February 2. Workers of NEDCO were detained by security officers after they cut power to the institution following the non-payment of 445,000 cedis. Management of UDS and NEDCO subsequently met over the incident. Citi News sources indicate that NEDCO is proposing the installation of prepaid meters, but a consensus has not been reached yet. The communications officer for NEDCO, Maxwell Kotoka, tells Citi News there would be further engagement on the matter.
They remain disconnected, but a lot of progress has been made so far last week. The leadership of UDF came to meet the leadership of the operational area and they have made some commitments. They have paid out of the arrears on that particular account, which is to the tune of 445,000. They have brought a deposit of 300,000. But I must say that we are not entirely satisfied with the payment and the way forward. So those are two key points that remain outstanding, over which there have been a number of meetings. As we speak now, they are meeting again with hired top management on the way forward. So we will be able to, hopefully we would have been resolved by the time that. But VBS has a number of other accounts. In all, they have about 41 different accounts, various campuses, various facilities here. So they have about 41 different accounts.
Maxwell Kotoka is Communications Officer for Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO.
Now, the minority in Parliament says the government is set to suspend about 60 ongoing projects across the country as part of its debt exchange program in securing the $3 billion support from the IMF. The government in its 2023 budget announced a halt in capital projects in line with its revenue rationalization measures. Now, speaking to journalists, the minority chief whip, Governor Kwame Agboja, said the suspension of the projects would lead to about 3 million job losses, hence the need for the government to be transparent about the conditions of the IMF.
Come 2018, when they decided to dismantle or go wayward and borrowing and other things and got us to the problem which we are, the government have decided belatedly to go into IMF. But the arrogance of Dr. Bawumia and Ken Oforiatta and their opaque way of doing things is such that nobody knows exactly what they are taking to the negotiation. As we speak, we have a situation where Dr. Bawumia and Ken Oforiatta are the only ones probably who knows what they are negotiating. All they want is to decide that Ghanaians should pay a certain amount of money from their private sources to save them, which is the issue about the debt restructuring, which people are pushing against heavily. But there are other significant parts of the negotiation that are not known to Ghanaians, which are creating big anxiety, not only in Ghana, but across the globe. I'm aware that series of meetings have taken place with a close group of people in NPP, close to President Akufo-Addo, where allegedly about 60 projects and programs are going to be either suspended or cancelled. These programs include projects that you and I know about, maybe Obechebi, La General Hospital, Shama, the road between Tamamoto Roundabout and Akosombo Bridge, Adomi Bridge, and many other projects across the country. You'll be surprised that this government actually paid some of the developers 15 to 20% mobilizations. These are foreign companies. They've taken the mobilization, are sitting in their offices drinking tea because government is unable to tell them whether to go ahead because Ken basically said, suspend all these things. So we are probably losing value because they've taken the money in terms of mobilization. They have set up camp, but they're in the office drinking tea.
That was the minority chief whip, Governor Kwame Agboja.
Now, still in Parliament, the Member of Parliament for Sagnarigu and ranking member on the Communications Committee of the House, ABA Fusini, has hinted of plans by the minority side to liaise with some majority members of the House to file another censure motion against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. DMP says the handling of the domestic debt exchange program by the Finance Minister is causing a serious threat to the already collapsed economy. We bring you that particular inset in our subsequent bulletin now. The minority side is also demanding the appearance of the governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addes. We bring you this particular inset shortly.
To some other stories, and the Ghana Hotels Association has announced that members will increase their rates due to the effects of the increment in utility tariffs by the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURC. The PURC has approved an increase in tariffs from 1st February, citing the city depreciation, soaring inflation, and issues with power generation as reasons for the approval. Now, speaking to City News, President of the Ghana Hotels Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike, said hotel owners are left with no option than to adjust prices in order to stay in business.
The economic environment is becoming a game of survival. Businesses will have to survive, and the hotel operators will also have to survive. And so, if a client goes to a hotel today and sees an upward adjustment in their rates, I don't think that they should be surprised at all, because in this economic environment we find ourselves, the hotels are not even fighting for serious profit margins. I don't think a lot of the hotels are even making profit. It has become a game of survival. And so any adjustment in the rates is going to be based on the utility adjustment that we are going to witness. And don't forget also that VAT has also gone up, and all other prices are still going up. So I don't think any client should be surprised if they should go to a hotel and see an upward adjustment until the business environment changes. Unfortunately, we are going to be witnessing some of this. The hotels have tried as much as possible to cushion some of the adjustments in their cost of operations. Okay, but to what extent and for how long can they sustain it? They will have to survive, and survival will mean that the inflows must balance the outflows.
President of the Ghana Hotels Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike, is still listening to Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Adabaka. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu.
Still to come, 21-year-old boy stabs 48-year-old woman to death in Kumasi. Stay with us. We'll be back with that story and many others.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back to Citi Prime News. Let's bring you some more stories.
A 48-year-old woman has died after she was allegedly stabbed at Bawku in the Ashanti region. A 21-year-old boy who lives opposite the residence of the deceased is alleged to have entered her room this morning and stabbed her multiple times. Co-tenant of the deceased said they heard a loud cry from her room and later found her body lifeless in a pool of blood after they broke into the apartment. Some youth in the area arrested the suspect and handed him over to the police. The deceased, Akosia Icha, who recently returned from abroad, was said to have had a misunderstanding with the suspect some weeks ago. Police have conveyed the body of the deceased and deposited it at the morgue. Now, lawyers for the family of the 32-year-old Shadrach Alo, who was killed at West Hills Mall, have described as misleading police reports suggesting that the body of the deceased had no signs of violent attacks. Shadrach was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital after he was tased by Bawku Ose, a shop owner at West Hills Mall. Before falling unconscious, police officers handcuffed Shadrach upon suspicion of carrying illegal substance. In its coroner report, the police say its careful inspection of the body revealed no physical marks of violence was found, but lead lawyer for the family, Francis Xavier Susu, says such reports are false. He tells Citi News the family has reached an agreement to have their own independent doctor to join the pathologist for the autopsy scheduled for tomorrow.
Fact that the police has put before the court are very, very scanty and a little bit misleading, because the fact keeps saying that when the body was first sighted, pictures were taken, there were no physical signs of violence and so on and so forth, to just kind of mislead everyone to think that he wasn't molested or he wasn't beaten or subjected to any. Obviously, when you look at the body physically, even not from a medical perspective, you can see that this is a body that was traumatized. You could see the face swelling. You could see blood in the ears and in the nose, clearly showing somebody who has actually, been subjected to some very serious traumatic condition and either beating and molestation. And because his body had been preserved, you could see, visible marks of violence and an attack on this. Whilst in the morgue, just viewing the body, you could see how some family members just broke down in tears, and it was such a very, very sad situation. The autopsy will be taking place tomorrow, God willing, and we've reached an agreement with the pathologist that we'll have our own independent medical doctor who will join in the process, and that has been agreed to. And so we are looking forward to tomorrow, doctor joining the pathologist of the Ghana Police Service to do the autopsy.
Francis Xavier Sosu is lawyer for the family of 32-year-old Shadrach Alo, who was killed at the West Hills Mall last week.
Now, Koforidua Circuit Court has granted bail to 2 leaders of a group of illegal miners arrested by the Akim Odan Divisional Police Command for mining at Akim Abuapo in the Birim Central Municipality. The 2, Kwesi Nketia and Kweku Amwako, led a group of about 60 persons to mine in the Birim River. The police, during an operation on Thursday, February 2nd, chanced on them in the act of using excavators to degrade farmlands and also polluting the river. The 60 miners, however, managed to escape by swimming to the other side of the river. The 2 leaders who appeared in court were granted a bail of 500,000 cedis with 2 sureties and are expected to reappear on March 3rd of this year.
Now, the Upper East Regional Security Council is calling on the feuding factions in the Bawku ethnic conflict to cease the gunfires and embrace peace. The conflict has resulted in the loss of lives and destruction to properties. The military was last week accused of allegedly killing 7 people. But speaking on a working visit to commiserate with the bereaved families in Bawku, RegSec Chairman Stephen Yakubu called for ceasefire.
So our message is that please, let all the guns in Bawku be silent. Let us put Bawku back to the map of Ghana. Let us seek peace. That is the only way, peace. Whatever it is, let us have peace. In conflict situations, it is usually women and children who suffer the most. And we all know over the years that fighting never solves any problem. It rather draws us back. It rather increases our poverty level. We all know banks have closed, schools have closed, hospitals have closed, commercial activity is completely almost zero. People are scared. These are the facts of Bawku. These are the realities of Bawku. What are we doing? My fathers, my brothers, my mothers, what are we doing? No one can come and seek peace for us. We will have to seek the peace ourselves. People will come and talk and go. People will come and see and leave. People will come and listen and go. But the peace is us.
That was the Upper East Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu.
Now, the case involving Arocha Ghana and the state is underway as the plaintiff, Arocha Ghana, has presented its first witness, Dr. Seth Apiakubi, for cross-examination. Now, Dr. Seth Apiakubi, who is director of Arocha Ghana, one of the plaintiffs in the matter, revealed that the case was filed following failure of the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation to exclude Etiwa Forest from being exploited for mineral purposes upon several requests.
Now, many street lights in the national capital for years have been non-functional, thereby endangering the lives of road users. A section of the public who spoke to Citi News called on government to address the issue as they are exposed to road crashes and robberies. Here is a news desk report. Street lights, which are fixed on the median and edges on the roads, are supposed to provide illumination to promote visibility for road users. In 2020, the Ministry of Energy announced the commencement of the installation and replacement of some 14,287 energy-efficient streetlights in Accra. The announcement gave a lot of hope to the citizenry. However, that move has since not seen the light of day, as quite a number of streetlights have been off for a number of years. The Citi News team devoted some days to observe the situation in some parts of the capital. On the Kolebu Mortuary Road to some parts of the late Professor Evans at Amils High Street, the team observed total darkness which compelled vehicles to keep their high light on until they drove past that stretch. The team continued to the Independence Square through to La Polyclinic, where although some parts had street light, the stretch from the U-turn to Joker's Club are yet to have the light fixed due to the construction of the road. According to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly 2019 and 2020 report on road crashes, the highest number of reported road crashes deaths occurred following crashes between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. This means that the role of street lights are crucial in the evenings to curb road crashes. Some members of the public spoke to Citi News.
There are a number of thieves on motorcycles who ply this road. Your phone can be stolen easily. Apart from that, we do not have any problem in this community.
I don't know. I don't actually know why they are not making the street light work. Maybe I think those who in charge should come and, solve the problem, because Charlie, it's very bad. Most of the roads I know, the street lights are not working. So I think those who in charge, the authorities should please come and check. It's not good. It's not cool. So that's all I have to say. So they should check and then fix it.
Brighter, or maybe you can also create an accident by killing other passengers. Of course, they should find somebody in such a way to also to reduce road accidents. Like Kabia says, you also make sure
non-functional street lights usually disturb me. For instance, you might run into a stationary car that has broken down.
Yes, but it's on
if he economy echo tetekwashi enye echo accident bebree cars be bonkrofo okwan mu de bia as car bonkrofo de bia okwan mu de bebree.
From that junction to Tetekwashi, the street lights are all not working. This results in a lot of accidents. This is worrying. Government should be proactive and address this menace as soon as possible.
Drivers in cars be one can in papa, so over to my car, one can in papa. Street light need to be brown, my cat accident and down.
The Public Relations Officer of the National Road Safety Authority, Pearl Adusu Satekla, indicated that they will be meeting with stakeholders to discuss the issue.
Once we are the authority or the agency mandated to see to the safety of our roads, we work in partnership with other duty bearers. And so from 2021 December up to 2022, we've written compliance notice to the authorities responsible for such issues to make sure that they fix or repair or put into use the malfunctioning street lights or traffic lights on our roads. And so when we did that for the first time, when we went back to inspect, we realized some were working, but another time it will also go off. We have also held a stakeholder engagement with all appropriate agencies who has a stake in the functioning of street light, and we realize there is a gap somewhere. And so we want a bigger approach to it. Maybe all the stakeholders responsible, let's say Energy Commission, Ghana Highway Authority, Urban Roads, the district assemblies even play a role in that. ECG plays a role. We all have a stakeholder consultation and find a lasting solution to it.
She also called on law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for miscreants who find solace in pilfering streetlights.
All the duty bearers have a mandate, and so it is up to the law enforcers to make sure that they will identify the thieves and arrest, prosecute them. We can't go beyond our education, our compliance notice giving, or regulation of the transport sector.
we can't go beyond it. We will be doing someone else's job. And so the law enforcers should make sure that those who steal those cables, wires, and other things on our road, rendering the road not functional, will be apprehended and prosecuted.
That was the City News Desk report.
Now, despite its proximity to the Wa and Upper West Regional Capital, the Bamahu Junior High School in Wa is in a deplorable state, compelling teachers to teach in makeshift sheds. Now, teaching and learning are disrupted by bad weather conditions because the makeshift classrooms are unable to withstand bad weather conditions. The authority are appealing to the government to intervene in order to safeguard the future of the pupils at the school. City News' Latif Mahama has more.
The Bamahu Junior High School has a population of 231. The school is the major basic public school, serving Bamahu and the southwestern part of Wa, the Upper West Regional Capital. However, the school is in dire need of infrastructure as the existing ones are in a deplorable state. The situation has compelled authorities of the school to use these makeshift sheds to accommodate the growing population. This is the staff common room. The Parent-Teacher Association, in a bid to mitigate the situation, initiated this 2-unit classroom block after several appeals to the government fell on deaf ears. The headmaster of the school complained that the situation has increased the number of school dropouts in the school.
The number of pupils that are transferred from this school to other schools in town is just unimaginable. Then at a point too, we got to realize that we were having increment in enrollment. Then we saw the need to put up these structures as you have seen. 3 sets, 2 being used as classrooms, and then this other one used as a staff common room. It was there and then that we called for a PTA meeting. They came and then they levied themselves. And then we started doing something.
The Member of Parliament for Wa Central, in response to the situation, presented 15 packets of roofing sheets to the school.
As it is, it pains your heart that children who are growing need to be taken care of, need to have conducive space for learning, are unable to secure those conditions, and their failure is then blamed on them. It's unacceptable. So I think that it's a deplorable, it's regrettable, it's unacceptable, and I want to call on government, if they were sleeping, to wake up and do a comprehensive check on what is happening in our system. We have concentrated on free senior high, and at the expense of the basic level of education, where need for intervention is completely lacking, and there's a need for us to turn attention to that. That is the reason why I brought these 15 packets of roofing sheets to enable us to roof the structure and to enable the next group of kids to be able to enter the classrooms and be able to learn. Is something we have seen to be a very committed service to the people. Bamahu JHS has been suffering a lot because of lack of classrooms. And an intervention by themselves, supported by me, enabled us to build this structure and then roof it only with wood. And there's a need for us to have adequate roofing sheets to complete the work on it. They came in their numbers to plead with me and to ask for me to support them. I told them, well, this is not something you will have to be pleading or requesting with fear, that I might not be able to, I may not be willing to, because it's a commitment by myself, and especially it's my home. And so it's important that I should do something about it.
Dr. Rashid Pelpu also visited the Wa Secondary Technical School, where he presented 58 chop boxes to students whose entire belongings got burnt in 3 separate fire incidents at the school. He also disbursed over 900,000 Ghana cedis to needy students within the Wa municipality before presenting medicine and other medical logistics to the Sombo Health Center as part of his efforts to enhance the living standards of residents within the Wa Central constituency.
Education is unsupported, and young people are not supported in their education enterprise. The result is that it has a negative effect on society. Knowing this, I have made education one of my cardinal policy areas, so that as much as possible, I will invest in the education of my people. And so today, I'm going to present about 47 checks to individuals who applied to me for support. It is going to be added on to about 240,000 Ghana cedis I already spent in supporting the payment of fees of our young people who are seeking help.
Reporting for City News, my name is Latif Mahama.
Let's now take you to the Ashanti region, where students of Ibrasu Methodist Primary School have been studying in a dilapidated classroom block. While students stay in the structure hoping the building will not collapse on them, a new 6-unit classroom block that has been completed for the school is not being used because it has not been commissioned. Ashanti regional correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim has more.
Started in 1937, Ibrasu Methodist Primary is the only public basic school within Ibrasu Idrasi electoral area within the Atuma-Kwaoma district of the Ashanti region. According to residents in the community, the school, since its inception, has not been given any proper renovation. It has thus been bedeviled with a number of infrastructural challenges, including cracked walls, inadequate classrooms, and lack of decent toilet facilities. School authorities and parents fear the lives of the students are at risk due to the current nature of the building. The assembly member for the area, Emmanuel Nyanting, has been highlighting the fears of parents and teachers at the school.
The building can collapse at any time on the children. And I think we hear of other news, we hear of these things happening. Must we wait? So that's our fear. We appeal to authorities. They should come to our aid. That is the most important thing before anything bad would happen.
While this challenge persists, what clearly worries residents and authorities of the school is that a newly completed 6-unit classroom block constructed for them has not been made available for use by authorities.
Asase ya asase kakraka at the school. Seka etimenya structures ni bi kura ama kwala no etimenya chichi mama mwan haya msebebua. Ko se menu ko na wuwa class bi wa kwa ohun bete. Mitisade ne yade a tete ye ne haya pa.
Na mo approach district education directors mo no makasa afa hon den no.
Ye no ane ye no mo kan ya nyame adom. Omo be ye we na akaso be commission amaye. Commission. And the consent car, Mother Roma. So more ready and come back to me a commission my intem. Now, Colani be, it may be a call on it me a boy.
I would say it's about a year ago that they completed. But from source, I think they are through with everything. So hopefully, latest by next month, I believe they will commission it so that they can use it.
After some parts of the building collapsed, authorities then moved students in that particular class to occupy one of the classrooms in the new structure, which is yet to be commissioned for use following its completion.
Now, due to the infrastructural deficit facing this school, some of the students are sometimes compelled to study under the mango tree outside. But for now, this church premise is where 3 classrooms study. Over here is the KG1, and if you look at my extreme right, that is the class 1, and over here is also class 2. All these 3 classes have to share this church premise due to the challenges of this school.
The assistant head teacher of the school, Florence Boedi, has been stressing how the school has been dealing with the situation.
And if you don't use the church building, where do you sit?
We go out to sit under
the mango tree. That's where we take the KG people to, so that we will sit there. For that one, it was very difficult because we don't have access to the chalkboard to do whatever we are supposed to write. But there we will be sitting there and singing our rhymes and reciting poems. But if we come to the classroom, it becomes a challenge, because even here too, we find it difficult to sing, because with the KG, we need to sing rhymes for them to become so happy. But if we do that, it will be affecting the two classrooms too, because we can't make noise, shouting and jumping, clapping, and it will be affecting the other class. So at times we even don't sing at all, whilst the other two are teaching. So we need to be silent and do our drawing and others. So here, it's very difficult for us. For sharing the same classroom with two, let's say one church building for 3 classrooms is very a big challenge to us.
Due to the infrastructural deficits and Ibrasu Methodist Primary being the only public institution serving primary pupils in the area, most of the classrooms are overcrowded.
Now, one will imagine that this is perhaps an assembly where various students from about 4 to 5 classrooms have been combined. But that is not the situation. This is Class 6 of Ibrasu Methodist Primary A. And from Monday to Friday, about 100 students have to sit here to study. The situation is worrying for both parents and teachers.
The school's management committee has called on authorities to improve the infrastructural situation of the school, including providing a toilet facility for them.
Toilet and so now you JHS dear and your primary school dear. You know, say, as I am fancy anything. Around one more around to me back toilet to her. To a banner be a watum grab a banner boo. Germany in ass, they say, school you need toilet. And no crana primary school ha a pity for a buyer. Yes, you see a ball round the nubi. Near pair a closet in Bissu near the Mount Colano. You need toilet to her, Colani in a toilet to a room, about South more.
Attempts to reach the district chief executive for the area and other relevant stakeholders on the matter proved unsuccessful.
Now, parents, teachers and students want authorities to ensure that this 6-unit classroom block is made available for use in order to help avoid the dangers associated with using the current dilapidated structure they are in. For Citi News, Fatih Amin Ibrahim. Ibrasu Methodist Primary A School, Achuma District.
Now to some troubling story coming in. Ghanaian footballer Christian Atsu has been trapped in the devastating wave of earthquakes in the southeastern part of Turkey. Now the former Ghana international who plays for the Turkish club Hatayspor is said to have been affected by the 7.7 magnitude earthquake. The club's sporting director alongside Christian Atsu are said to be trapped under the rubble as search and rescue operations begin. You're still listening to Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Adabaka. When we come back, we'll take you to Mami Krobo in the Afram Plains, South District of the Eastern Region, where calm has returned there after last Friday's reprisal attacks over the alleged murder of a resident by a herdsman. Stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
More. It's something we're promised a lot these days. But what does more actually look like? Well, in Emirates Economy, it's endless entertainment on the biggest screens in the sky plus live sport. That's more. Gourmet cuisine that gives you a taste of your destination, served with free-flowing drinks. That's more. Special meals and toys for kids to keep your little explorers happy. That's more. So whichever way you look at it, more really does mean more in Emirates Economy. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Mommy, Daddy, come. The letter came in the mail.
What are you waiting for? Open it.
OMG, Mami, I finally got into university in Canada. I can't even believe it.
Hey, congratulations.
Vanessa, now we need to figure out your student visa.
Mommy, Daddy, Vanessa, don't you remember Asker Immigration Consulting Services, the regulated Canadian immigration company that helped us with our visitor visas to Calgary last year? Well, they also help with student visas.
Is that so? Well, then I know we'll be in safe hands with Askia. The visitor visa process was so smooth.
Let me contact them now.
Contact Askia Immigration Services on 0241 318890 or 0595 449054 to book appointments and to get assessment of documents. Askia Immigration Services on the 8th floor of the number 1 Airport Square building, Airport City.
I'll take you there. Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back to Citi Prime News. Now, there's relative calm at Mami Krobo in the Afram Plains South District of the Eastern Region following last Friday's reprisal attacks over the alleged murder of a resident by a herdsman. Even though some residents fled the community, the joint military and police team deployed to calm the situation are still in the community. Residents and traders from neighboring villages are this morning trading and going about their normal duties. Now, a teacher in the community is worried about a possible reprisal attack and believes teaching and learning may be affected.
That was Friday. The incident that happened at Mami Krobo, that is Krobo Afram Plains here, was very bad and it wasn't good. So the time the teachers, we heard the incidents and we were all that in a sad mood. It wasn't good. So we try as much as possible to try to bring everything else down, but it wasn't. And some of the soldiers came here and rushed to where the incidents happened. And now we can see that everything is coming down. But with due respect, we don't know what is going to happen next. So we are praying, we are also praying that everything will be settled in Christ's name. That's what we are expecting here. We need peace and unity.
Meanwhile, some members of the Eastern Regional Security Council are expected to meet chiefs and opinion leaders of Mami Krobo later today to help address the situation.
Now, the High Court in Accra has adjourned to the 13th of March the hearing of the injunction application by Charles Bissu asking the High Court to stop the Office of the Special Prosecutor from investigating and prosecuting him on the basis that he has already been investigated and set free by the police on allegations of corruption leveled against him. The OSP in October last year initiated a probe against Charles Bissu over his role as Secretary to the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining following an investigative documentary titled Galamsey Fraud Part 1 published by Tiger IPI. This process was first filed on 23 December 2022. It subsequently amended the application on January 4 without amending the affidavit in support. Today in court, lawyers for Mr. Bissu prayed to withdraw the application filed on December 23, 2022, and also announced they have amended the affidavit in support of the application filed on January 4, 2023. However, this latest process filed on January 27, 2023 is yet to be served on the OSP and the other defendants.
Now, the Senior Staff Association of the Electoral Commission of Ghana has given the Commission a February 15 deadline to settle all outstanding administrative issues that are hampering productivity. The association says power has been disconnected to some offices due to the non-payment of electricity bills. It also claims the EC is unable to service and maintain official vehicles, among other challenges. In a letter to the chairperson of the EC and signed by leaders of the association, the staff said members may seek legal redress if their issues are not addressed. Here are excerpts of the release.
The National Council, the second highest decision-making body of the SSA and the mouthpiece of the senior staff members of the various regions, have resolved to the following. Commission's inability to settle all outstanding administrative releases in full by the 15th February 2023 will cause the following: hanging of red flags at all offices of the Commission from 16 February 2023 to show our protest. Officers would be unable to perform administrative and operational functions that require any financial commitment. The National Council of the Association may employ other legitimate and permissible tools under the labor law of Ghana to press home our demands after hanging the red flags. Members should also endeavor to address all these pertinent issues in a timely manner for industrial peace and harmony to prevail, considering the fact that this year is an election year.
Here are excerpts of a letter written to the Electoral Commission by leadership of the Senior Staff Association of the Commission, read by Philip Latte.
Now, pressure group Arise Ghana wants the government to make public the agreement it has with foreign entities in its Gold for Oil program. This is on the back of government revelation that the initial 40,000 metric tons of diesel that arrived in the country last month under the Gold for Oil policy was valued at $40 million. The group says publicizing the agreement with other entities raises questions about its transparency. A member of the group, Mensa Thompson, called on the government to seek parliamentary approval on the policy.
Where is the agreement for the Gold for Oil? As Ghanaians, we are entitled to see the agreement the government of Ghana has signed with a foreign entity to exchange gold for oil. Again, Article 1815 is very clear that any transaction between government of Ghana and a foreign company should go to Parliament for approval. This gold for oil thing did not go to Parliament for approval because so Article 1815 has been breached, and that is why we are sending a word of caution to the Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the people at NPA, the people at BOST, and all the people who are leading this arrangement, that this agreement has not received parliamentary approval, and so anything they do in the name of the people of Ghana is null and void.
Mensa Thompson is a member of pressure group Arise Ghana.
Now, the National Democratic Congress, the NDC branch in the Central Region, says it is hopeful of winning 20 out of the 23 parliamentary seats up for grabs in the 2024 elections. It also projects to win 60% of the presidential votes. Now, the party also believes the appointment of Kasala to Forson as the minority leader of parliament will have an influence in the NDC attaining this feat. It wants the current leadership of the party to support the appointment. Now, speaking to Citi News to endorse the appointment of the minority leader, the chairman of the party in the region, Professor Richard Kofi Asiedu, said the current economic crisis in the country can only be addressed by an NDC government.
We're having a lot of problems in this region, which was impeding our progress. If you guys remember, in 2016, the wind of change was everywhere, and we had 4 parliamentary conferences for the NDC, and it also transformed into the presidential vote as well. We also had 4 for the central region in terms of the presidential vote. There were only 4 conferences. In 2020, we were expecting that we had 13 parliamentary seats. We should have corresponded with the presidential vote. But we again had 4 presidential conferences. So it means there's a problem somewhere. So when we came, we have put a lot of measures in place. I mean, we are applying scientific tools and taking data from the conferences. As we speak now, we are doing research in almost all the conferences to find out the actual problems. And the feedback we are getting is good. And that's why we can boldly say that at least we can take 20 out of the 23 seats. MPP took 19 out of 23. And it will not be a surprise that we can take the 20 out of 23. I know why I'm saying that, and I know we can take it.
Professor Richard Kofi Asiedu is the Central Regional Chairman of the NDC.
Now, a listener of the City Breakfast Show, Emmanuel Khadija, today received a free ticket to join the 2023 Heritage Caravan. The slot on the 2023 Heritage Caravan was given by the European Union, which is one of the sponsors of this year's caravan. Tickets for the 2023 Heritage Caravan have been sold out 1 clear month before the set date. The caravan, which is an exciting adventure through 13 regions of Ghana, is scheduled to take place from the 4th to the 11th of March 2023. The Heritage Caravan, since its inception in 2016, has served patrons with a rich cultural experience, introspective historical visitations, and exhilarating field days with nature. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Ambassador of the EU to Ghana, His Excellency Aichad Razali, also revealed that he will be joining this year's trip.
So last year we came a bit late, and we chose the food bazaar.
Yes.
I will not say as a fallback plan because this was incredible, but it was, I would say, we were short of.
Okay.
So we were happy to engage already with the incredible Ghana gastronomy. I discovered a lot.
Okay.
I have to confirm, it's true.
It's
we are
true.
supporting the Heritage Caravan. And I confirm we will be giving away one ticket.
Wonderful.
So the question is the following. The question which can get you a free ticket to join the Heritage Caravan.
Yes.
And maybe meet with me because I will join the caravan myself.
Wow. Yes, I can do.
That was the EU Ambassador to Ghana, Aichad Razali. Now, the Heritage Caravan 2023 is powered by Citi TV in partnership with the Ghana Tourism Authority with support from 97.3 Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Hollard Ghana, the EU, Malta Guinness, Ebony Condoms, Gall Company Limited, National Lotteries Authority, Vortec Mineral Water and Colgate Natural Extracts.
Well, that's it. Why are you looking at me like that?
No comment.
Okay. Well, that's it for today's edition of Citi Prime News. It came to you live from our studios at Adaraka in Accra. For more news, log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko here with
Hawa Idrisu.
The business news is up next with Michael Ogbedu.
City 97.3. Accra.